Hello, it is nice lick time. Nice lick 23, I believe. So this is quite a long running series now. I have been tempted to abandon this series on a few occasions, but people still seem to like it, I think. So as long as people are enjoying it, I will continue. And it's a very simple concept. I'm going to show you a nice lick, and then I'm going to take you through how to play it yourselves. And what I want to emphasize in this particular video is the idea that rather than having some kind of fixed lick or phrase which you have to play the same way every time, it's much better to have a looser kind of a concept which you can then mold and reshape as you see fit in more of a improvisational kind of a way. So those are the kind of things that I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'm going to start by playing the lick for you. I've put together a quick backing track, so I'm going to play along to that. I'll play the actual lick and I might try one or two variations on the lick. So let's do that and then I'll take you through what's going on. Now, the actual lick that I'm going to be discussing is this one. And this lick works over a major chord or over a major seventh chord. In this case, I'm playing over a B flat major seventh chord. And all of the notes in this lick do come from the B flat major scale, but it's got a definite kind of arpeggio sound to it. And I'm in fact using arpeggios that are found within that scale as a way of getting a different kind of a sound and also as a way of targeting the good sounding notes. And over this B flat major seventh chord, there are actually a number of different arpeggios that you could play. Obviously, you could play the major seventh arpeggio straight off of the root. B flat major seventh arpeggio. You could also play the other diatonic arpeggios in the key, so the other 4-note seventh arpeggio. So you're just building an arpeggio off of each note of the B flat major scale. So you would have a C minor 7 arpeggio off of the second, D minor 7, E flat major 7, F7, what else? G minor 7 and A minor 7 flat 5. Those are all of the diatonic arpeggios. All of those would work over this chord, but I think some of those arpeggios are going to sound better than others. Obviously, playing the B flat major seventh arpeggio is going to be the perfect fit to the chord. It's just the same notes as are in the chord tones. So the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. What I'm doing in this lick, I'm using that arpeggio, but I'm combining it with a D minor 7 arpeggio. This is another really good choice. And if you think about it, what a D minor 7 arpeggio gives you against that B flat root note and that B flat major seventh chord is the third, the fifth, the seventh, and also this C note here, which is really nice. That's the ninth or the second. So you can play a minor seventh arpeggio off of the third of this chord, and some people will refer to this as a 3 to 9 arpeggio. It's going from the third, fifth, seventh up to the ninth. So it's got some chord tones in there. It's got that nice colour tone, that ninth in there. Doesn't have the root. Sometimes the root is a bit too obvious, so it's sometimes a good note just to leave out. And what's happening in this lick is I'm combining the D minor seventh arpeggio with the B flat major seventh arpeggio, kind of blending those two sounds to create an interesting lick or line. So I think a good starting point would be to drill these arpeggio shapes in this zone of the fretboard. One thing I do like to do is to associate the arpeggios with a chord shape. It just makes these arpeggios easy to find. So if we've got this kind of common B flat major seventh chord fingering, it's just a B flat. I'm muting the A string. I've got A, D and F, and around that I've got my B flat major seventh arpeggio, also play my D minor 7th arpeggio. So I've got the chord, there's the third of the chord, this D note, and then I can go into my D minor 7th arpeggio from there. So I've got those arpeggio shapes associated with that chord. So onto the actual lick itself then, and I'm starting like this, just climbing straight up that D minor 7th arpeggio. So D, hammering onto this F, A and C. And then I'm smoothly connecting to the B flat major 7th arpeggio. So I've got a slide from A to B flat, that's the 7th to the root, and just going up this little major triad shape, and then stretching with my little finger to catch this A note here, that's the major 7th. So it's a very smooth sound. And then I'm ending the lick like this. So I'm pulling off from 10 to 6 there, then I'm adding in this G note, back to the F, and then a D, C, D slide to end. So all together. And it's important that you're hearing that lick against that B flat major 7th chord, so you might just like to loop a chord and then play over that, or perhaps use my backing track. And that's the basic lick. But as I said at the start of this video, I think it's better to have more of a loose, kind of flexible concept rather than having this fixed lick that you play exactly the same way every time. So I just now want to talk about ways that you can vary this lick and just get a bit more mileage out of it, really. So the first thing you could do would be to try playing it in some different parts of the neck, and that's what I did at the start of this video. So you could also play this lick up an octave, perhaps playing it up here. So this time I'm starting on this D note here, 12th fret on the D string. And once again, I find it helpful to think about a chord shape. So you've got this B flat major 7th voicing up here, and then the third of that chord would be here, this D note. That's helping me get my bearings with this lick and to be able to access these arpeggios quickly. So you've got the chord there, and then the D minor 7th arpeggio. And because it's up an octave, the fingering has changed slightly here, but it's the same notes. And then into the B flat major 7. And ending the lick the same as before. So we've got two options now of playing that lick. And then you can vary that lick further. It doesn't have to be exactly the same every time. So you might start with those arpeggios, but then end the lick slightly differently. You could do something like this. So, loads of possibilities there. Another thing you could do would be to change the rhythm of the lick. So the basic lick, as I wrote it, was starting on beat 1, so 3, 4. But you don't have to start on beat 1, and one thing that I did at the start of this video was I just displaced the lick rhythmically. So I came in on, I think, the second 16th note of beat 1 instead. So that if you're counting it 1 E and a, then it'll be the E just after 1. So 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a 1. And again, just ending the lick however you like. But just doing that, it changes the whole feel of the lick, and you could try coming in on any part of the beat and you're just taking the same idea and getting a lot more mileage out of it. It's a really powerful concept. And you can of course take the lick and move it around to make it work against other chords. And at the start of the video I was playing on the B flat major 7th chord, then on the backing track it was going to the 4 chords, so an E flat major 7, and I can just move the lick to fit that chord. Again, I find it very helpful to think in terms of chord shapes. So an E flat major 7, you could play that up here, and the starting point for the lick is the 3rd, so I'm just seeing that note there. It's a G note in relation to this E flat root note, and then you're into the lick. So you could play it there. I think I also played it down here as well, so the same concept. Here's the chord shape, there's our jumping off point. So that's really it. I suggest you learn the lick, learn some of those variations, and then try and work it into your playing a little bit. You can probably come up with some further variations of your own, and the idea is just to be able to get naturally into and out of this idea, not necessarily play it the same way every time, but have it as this kind of flexible thing that's a lot more musical that way. You don't feel like you're kind of shoehorning these fixed phrases into a solo. And I should just quickly mention the gear that I'm using today. People always seem to be interested. The guitar is of course a Fender Strat, and this particular model of Strat is I think it's based on a 1965 Strat. It's quite a recently made reissue Strat. I'm not sure exactly what they're calling their reissue Strats these days, but it's based on the 65 guitar, I think. Not using an amp at all today. I'm using my Kemper Profiler, and I used to be a bit of a snob about these kind of things, a bit of a kind of valve or tube amp bore and purist. You know, I had to kind of keep it real, but to be honest, the Kemper sounds great and it's super convenient. I've just got it sitting on a shelf over there. I've got it kind of plumbed directly into my computer. I've got a little patch bay, and then that goes into my audio interface, so it's very easy for me to just switch that on and get a great sound straight away without kind of faffing with my other amps and miking everything up and all the rest of it. I will still do that most of the time. It is kind of fun to do that, and if you are using real amps and gear, at least you can get kind of more of a unique sound. I suppose everyone who's got a Kemper Profiler and this particular profile will get exactly the same kind of a sound, but if you're miking up a real amp and using real gear, there are always going to be some variables, and it can sound a bit more interesting. But just for convenience and for ease of getting a great sound, I do like the Kemper. That's it for today. If you would like a tab, that's of course going to be up on my Patreon page, and I think what I'm going to do is write out the lick, but I will also write out the little improvisation that I did at the start of this video, so some of the variations on that basic lick and a few little noodly bits that I did in between. So if you'd like that, check out my Patreon page. The backing track is also going to be up on there. And do check out some of the other nice licks if you're interested. There are 22 other extremely nice licks to check out, which you can find elsewhere on this YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.